Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/entitled people. In today's episode, my entitled sister wants to steal our deceased grandma's apartment out from under me, so the guy she's cheating on her husband with can move in instead, and she can see him easier. Update: my entitled sister wants to steal our deceased grandma's apartment out from under me, so the guy she's cheating on her husband with can move in instead, and she can see him easier. But I only get 30 minutes for lunch. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. My entitled sister wants to steal our deceased grandma's apartment out from under me, so the guy she's cheating on her husband with can move in instead, and she can see him easier. Just needed a place to complain because I'm upset, so it's cool if nobody sees this/replies. Sorry if you do read this and things make no sense, no promises to be coherent. Anyways, hold on to your hats and get ready for a train wreck, fellas. My sister, mid-30s, is probably the worst case of entitled I've ever seen. She's always the victim, can do no wrong, and the world owes her for her imaginary suffering. This time, however, she's reached a new level. She's recently confessed to our mom and I that she's started dating someone behind her husband's back, and to be honest, her husband is also a ginormous dirtbag, but just leave the guy, okay? I don't think anyone deserves to be cheated on, and even though he totally sucks, an affair doesn't constitute as some kind of just punishment. It's messy, gross, and not worth it. Save everyone the extra heartache. Now, our grandma passed away at the end of August. It hasn't even been a month since she passed, and since she was terminally ill, we did have time to discuss some things and make arrangements for others. She lived in an apartment that's attached to our mom's house, and we had talked about me moving into it after grandma passed, and everyone thought it was a good idea because my grandma had things like no-slip railings, kitchen tools/gadgets for arthritic hands, etc., and I am also disabled and could benefit from the same equipment. Come to find out, my dipshit sister thinks it'd be a cool idea to have her marital affair move into our mom's property instead, so she can use our mom as some kind of cover for her affair, and I am absolutely repulsed and livid. We were all just starting to let my sister come around again, because after grandma passed, she seemed like it had really affected her and she was really turning over a new leaf, but it's all because she wants her boyfriend to move in. I don't think anyone is going to fly with the idea. I just can't believe that she even thought it would be a viable option and something that she could even suggest to us. Why does she just assume that we'll help her cheat on her husband? I want no part of it. I will not be an accomplice. Also, her justification for suggesting he move in is because OP doesn't seem to be in much of a rush to get up there, like yeah? I found our grandma, deceased, less than a month ago. Sorry, I haven't been in a hurry to erase grandma from her home. Sorry, I haven't been sorting through all of her belongings and getting them ready to be rehomed or donated. I wish I could keep every trace of her, and the fact that I have to get rid of anything at all hurts, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I haven't done it yet, but maybe try having a little empathy. I've decided that I'm kicking my sister out of my life again. Each time I think she's capable of changing, she shows that she's still the same horrible, selfish person, and I'm done falling for the charade. Have fun with the inevitable divorce proceedings. Good luck explaining all this bullshit to your kids too. Just tell her husband. Problem solved. I've been thinking about dropping the truth nuke on her husband since finding out about the affair, but my sister is really good at weaponizing her kids against me. While I'm completely fine with cutting off all regular contact with my sister again, I'm not okay with losing them, and being the one to out her to her husband would absolutely jeopardize being able to see them. Please make sure that you are physically in the house whenever possible. If you can't be there, have mom or someone else there. If he moves his stuff in, it will harder to get him out. Very true, and unfortunately at this point I wouldn't put it past her to get even more underhanded. One of our brothers is almost always home ATM, and I know he wouldn't let her get away with something like that, so I'll definitely talk to him about keeping an extra eye on the apartment. I know he's gone up to grandma's after our sister's been up there to make sure she hasn't stolen anything, lol, so I'm sure he'll have no problems. Thank you for bringing this up. What do you want to bet that the other guy is one of those who doesn't want to work and would expect to live rent-free and have everything done for him too? honestly wouldn't surprise me, haven't met the guy, don't know much about him, but her husband is currently faking a brain injury to get out of working, so can't imagine the boyfriend will be much different. I agree, tell hubby, and she's screwed. What a piece of work. You shouldn't let her be in your life more than she has to. I'm sorry you have to deal with this so soon after your grandmother passed. Update: my entitled sister wants to steal our deceased grandma's apartment out from under me, so the guy she's cheating on her husband with can move in instead, and she can see him easier. If you haven't read the original post, you can check it out here. I wanted to first start off by saying thank you to everyone who took the time to reach out with their advice and personal stories. You've all been so kind to me. I didn't expect so many people to comment/message with their guidance and words of encouragement. Thank you so much, I appreciate all of you. Secondly, I want to apologize for being MIA these past couple days, but it's only because there's been some good developments. Love. There were so many good points made in my last thread that my mom and I hadn't really thought of, such as my sister potentially getting kicked out and needing somewhere to stay, waiting until after I've moved to tell her husband about the affair, ways to tell him, etc. And all of these things have been taken into consideration moving forward. My family and I have begun going through grandma's belongings, and it's definitely been bittersweet, because it hurts to see her things go and her existence dissipate even more, but we have also found so many family photos and keepsakes and overall good memories. I even found a box that belonged to my great-grandpa and it had his pocket watch and a locket with a photo of my great-grandma in it. My sister did manage to bully her way into the apartment for a few hours so she could pick out what keepsake she wanted, but joke's on her because I hid all the things grandma wouldn't have wanted her to take. She walked away with not much more than a decorative bowl. She is starting to drop the narrative that her boyfriend can move into the apartment now that she sees that we are serious about me being the new tenant, but she did make some little comments that let me know that it's not forgotten. She can plot all she wants though, because we're installing a security system and changing locks, so if she thinks she can sneak in, or try to get her hands on anything else, she is sadly mistaken. My mom and I have decided that after I'm all moved into the apartment, we are going to tell her husband the truth about the affair and offer our support to him and the kids, and do whatever we can to help, whether it's emotional support, babysitting, whatever we can to make things easier when my sister's infidelity is brought to light. My sister might hate us for it, but at the end of the day, she is the victim of her own actions, and I am tired of sparing her feelings so she can continue to treat everyone around her like absolute trash, and my mom agrees that enough is enough, and if we never hold her accountable for what she does, she'll continue to push the limits of what she can get away with. Some people suggested going the anonymous route with tipping her husband off, and while I thought that might have been a possibility, ultimately I feel like that could cause some inner turmoil for him later. If he didn't know his wife was cheating, then who did, and just how many other people knew? Was it something she kept out in the open when he wasn't around, and nobody respected him enough to tell him personally? I don't want him to end up potentially torturing himself through speculation. Anyways, I think that's all there is to tell you guys for now. I just wanted to let you all know where some things have ended up / where they're headed, and thank you for the outpouring of support. It was much needed and very appreciated. I am glad that I won't have to hold on to such a horrible, ugly secret for much longer, and her husband can know the truth, and we will do what we can to help with the healing process. Also, if you managed to read both of these novellas I've left about the situation, thank you for even taking the time. Love you all. I'm glad you are taking steps to protect yourselves, security, etc., and moving forward with your own plans. I particularly applaud your decision to take the difficult and more honorable route of telling your brother-in-law what is going on. Your sister is not the victim of her own actions, she is the author of her own narrative. She is in no way a victim, she will merely experience the consequences of her own decisions. It's hard to watch family members make poor choices, but it is in facing the consequences they learn to make better choices and become better people. Spot on. I'm tired of perpetuators getting any claim to victim status. You make your bed, you lie in it. I honestly want to hear about how your sister, when her web of lies comes stashing down on her. Please stay strong up, and your sister deserves what she gets. Good idea to hide everything important. So glad it worked out. Your first post made me so angry on your behalf. But if you think telling her husband about the affair will somehow magically turn on an accountability factor in her, it absolutely won't. Be prepared for her to play the victim to an insane degree and make your lives hell. She will blame you 100% for her marriage blowing up. She will always be the type of person who doesn't take responsibility for her actions. The sooner you change the locks and move in, the better. She is very toxic. Stay strong, OP, don't waver. Do not let her get what she wants. Glad you're doing this. But I only get 30 minutes for lunch. I work in a hospital and get lunch from the canteen most days. As you can imagine, the line is long, filled with office staff, like me, nurses, doctors, and any number of other healthcare workers. I was getting close to the front of the queue for the tills after queuing to be served my meal. This lady had come for a coffee and cake. She said to us, "I was with colleagues, can I just skip in here, I only get 30 minutes. She was disgusted when I said no. We all only get 30 minutes, and these nurses behind me have been on their feet running around looking after patients for hours. What I didn't say was, and you've been sat on your very large backside in your office drinking coffee whenever you want." She glared at me and said, "Well, I'll just have to go without then, won't I?" Like I had just chopped off a limb with a blunt spoon or something. Did you respond with, "How is your 30 minutes more important than those in line who are also on their 30 minutes break too?" Sort of. It was a simple, we all only get 30 minutes, including all the nurses behind me. She put her cake back and glared at me as she left. Where I used to work, for this exact reason, my manager told us that the 30 minutes start as soon as you sit down with your lunch. Apparently, this was quite unique, and many other workers also asked for this, and senior management didn't really agree. They did, however, recognize the issue. Therefore, office staff was banned from the cafeteria between 11:30 and 1300, as they have no other customer-facing colleagues waiting for you to come back and can lunch more or less whenever they please. I love telling entitled people no. And because I'm in the UK, they are not used to it. People here are far too polite sometimes. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.